Today I thought I'd do another cooking video. The last two I did got really good responses, so I figure you guys must like these. And yes, I am shooting with the JVC Mini DV video camera that I picked up this past weekend. Today we're going to make all Bran Muffins. And I know you think these are all for old people, but no, they're very delicious. So without further ado, let's get started. I'll go over a list of all the ingredients you'll need for these. I have it all on my phone here. First, you will need 2 cups of Kellogg's All Bran cereal. Now, this is a generic one that I found at the dollar store, but this should work just fine. 1 1/4 cups of milk, 1 egg, 1/4 cup of oil. I just use olive oil. It's a little bit healthier. 1 1/4 cups of flour, 1/2 cup of sugar, 1 tablespoon of baking powder, and just 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Now, other things you are going to need, of course, is a baking pan. It's just your standard baking pan. I like to get the ones that have the non-stick on. That way you don't have to spray so much canola oil in it. Let me show you a couple other things you guys are probably going to want to put in. Now, this is all at your discretion, but you can really put almost anything in. Raspberries, blueberries. Show you what we like to use. For this batch, I'm going to go ahead and put in some blueberries, some raisins, and some pineapple. This is just canned pineapple. You can find this in any store. It's right next to the canned peaches and all the other canned fruits. Okay. First thing we're going to have to do is preheat the oven. It preheats at 400 degrees. So let me go ahead and do that. Okay. Then we're going to go ahead and we're going to measure 2 cups of the All Bran cereal. And this can all go into one bowl. It says to use separate bowls for wet and dry ingredients. You really don't need to. I like to pull this off. It just makes it a little bit easier to measure. Got 1. And 2. Alright. Next we have the 1 1/4 cups of milk. Got to get the measuring cup out. You want to make sure you're pretty precise with the liquid measures. 1 1/4, and that just goes right in here. Move this over so you can see a little better. Alright. Next we have 1 egg. Now if you're uncomfortable with thinking you might get a shell in there, you can go ahead and put this in a separate bowl, but I've done this many times before, so I'm very careful. 1 egg. Next we have 1/4 cup of oil. And again, I'm using extra virgin olive oil, but you can pretty much use anything you want. It won't taste funny with the olive oil. It all pretty much cooks out anyway, and it's a lot healthier for you. Okay. My phone went to sleep. Here we go. Alright, and 1 1/4 cups of flour. Always do this over the bowl, because if you spill in the bowl, it's not too big a deal, and it's a lot easier when you have to clean up at the end. I think we're just going to have enough flour here. Okay, so that's one. Now to measure the quarter, we have to put this back in. Always getting down to the end here. Actually, what you can do is put a little bit in like this. If you think it's too much, just push it back up to the quarter. And then dump it in. Next we have a half a cup of sugar. Kind of clumps up a little bit, so just break it up with whatever you have. That's a half a cup. I like to add just a little bit more because it tends not to be sweet enough. So maybe just another couple of teaspoons will do the trick. Next we have 1 tablespoon of baking powder. Don't get that confused with baking soda, it's baking powder. Next we have, actually the very last of the main ingredients is a half a teaspoon of salt. You could even use a little less if you don't like your things too salty because the baking powder makes it a little salty. So I use about a half a teaspoon. Now, here come the custom ingredients. The first one I'm going to put in are just some raisins. And what you can do is if your raisins are a little bit old, you can soak them in water for a few minutes and that'll separate them because they tend to stick together. But I just bought these, so they're nice and fresh. A couple handfuls. We're not too exact right here. The next ingredient is some pineapples. Now these are little chunks. My dad usually eats these in his oatmeal in the morning. First thing I'm going to do is pour a little bit of the juice in there. About a half a cup will suffice if you have it. Then what you do is you take these, and I just kind of break them up in my hands. You could put them in a blender if you want, you could cut them, but I find that this really gives it a good consistency because you basically want a little bit of pineapple in every bite. And because I'm putting in blueberries too, I'm not going to overload it with pineapple. Put in about a half a cup. And the very last thing I'm going to put in are some fresh blueberries. You can use frozen ones, but I'm not crazy about the flavor of frozen blueberries. We get these at our local BJ's. Big container like this is about $5 or $6. First thing you want to do is make sure you rinse them off thoroughly. Because with any produce, you never know what kind of pesticides they might use. And I don't use organic because, to be honest with you, can't afford it. I'm going to take a handful of blueberries here, and I'm just going to distribute them evenly. And let's do 2 handfuls. If you're measuring this, this would be about a cup and a half. And that is it for your ingredients. So what we're going to do, I'm going to get a big spoon here, and we're going to stir everything. Don't use a mixer because it'll make it way too fine. Put a little bit of elbow grease in. Nobody ever said cooking was easy. You gotta build up those muscles. You don't even have to go to the gym. Really need to work those eggs in there. Alright, and that's about the consistency you want. It's the consistency of about, I'd say it's like thick pancake batter. Give you a closer look there. There you go. The next thing we need to do is we need to go ahead and grease this pan. Now, again, to be a little more health conscious, I'm going to go ahead and use just canola spray. Now, you want to try to spray these pretty thoroughly because they do tend to stick, even though this is a non-stick pan. I'm running a little bit low on this, so bear with me, guys. Alright, so now that it is thoroughly greased, I'm going to go ahead and spoon in the product. Now, when putting this in, you want to fill it just to about the top, because these will puff, but they're not going to puff up a whole lot. And you can take your time with these. I mean, you know, you want to make sure you get a good amount of blueberries and pineapple and raisins in each one. Mixing it thoroughly helps. I remember the first time I did this, I only mixed it for like 5 or 6 seconds. One had one had all blueberries, another one had mostly pineapple, and the other one had almost all raisins. I don't know if you heard in the background there, the oven just went off, so that means we're up to temperature. And this will get a little thick, so just kind of pat it in if you have to. And that's it. So this is about as much as should be in each of them. I don't know if you guys can get a good view of that. I'm trying to do it without spilling it. But they should be right to the top. No more, no less, because this will make the perfect muffin. And now we're going to go ahead and bring you over here. We're going to go ahead and put these bad boys in the oven. Again, top rack, so you don't want to scorch them. And we're going to go ahead and put these in for 20 minutes. Bake time. 20 minutes. And I will be back in just about 20 minutes, and you'll see the finished product. Just a quick side note, guys. This is the cereal that I had purchased. This actually came from Dollar Tree, and I believe this is going to be one of their regular products. It's just called High Fiber Cereal, made by American Breakfast is the company. And if you've ever bought the brand cereal, you'll know this is a pretty good deal. This size box in a regular store would sell for about $4 to $5. So if you guys have a Dollar Tree near you, make sure you pick a couple of these up for sure. Alright, I'm back, and we're ready to pull it out of the oven. Don't those look good? Now, a quick way to make sure that they're done is to use one of these cupcake testers. This little thing with a little red handle, little rod, goes right in. Put it in, take it out, and if it comes out clean, then it's done. So that was how to make the all brand muffins. I will go ahead and put the link to the recipe down in the description. This is not my own recipe. This is one that I found online, and I've used this for several years now. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this cooking video. Please remember to like and subscribe, and have a blessed day, everyone.